Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. Thought I'd do a video today on Lemon Squad Auto Inspections, the company that I founded 15 years ago or so. I get a lot of questions about it, and some of these things I've actually touched in other videos of mine, but I thought I'd talk about it here and just have a Lemon Squad video. So if you know me as the guy from Lemon Squad, this will kind of explain a little bit how that all started. So I guess it was closer to 20 years ago. My daughter's 21 years old right now, and she was a baby when I started the company. So I was a mechanic jumping around from dealership to dealership working on cars. I started my career in Volkswagen. Then I went over to Subaru, and at the very end I went to Honda. But I was bouncing around throughout those franchises, those dealerships, and I was sticking with Volkswagen for a little while. Then I switched to Subaru, and I bopped around to different Subaru dealers, and then I went to Honda. I think I only worked at one Honda dealer, but I wasn't there all that long. I just, if you guys know my story a little bit, I deal with anxiety real bad, and recently was diagnosed with being on the spectrum with autism. So I just didn't feel right at any of those places. I never felt like I fit in. The anxiety was really bad all the time, and I started to think, what can I do that would keep me home? How can I work from home? I think that would make me feel better. And that didn't work out right away. What I ended up doing was I ended up doing these inspections called mechanical inspections for extended warranty companies. And so I was going out on behalf of extended warranty companies, and I was verifying failures before they would pay to have that failure fixed, before they'd pay that claim. So I was doing those while I worked at the Honda dealer. I started those while I was working at the Honda dealer, and they started getting pretty busy. And I noticed I was a lot happier driving around in my car, going from the dealership to dealership, doing those inspections, than I was staying at a dealership working on a car, wrenching all day. For one thing, I was much cleaner. I wouldn't get all full of grease, and it gets under your nails and everything. Look how clean they are these days. These mitts of mine used to just be full of grease, and they haven't seen grease in a long time. But I really enjoyed doing those inspections, but I didn't quite have enough of them to stop working as a mechanic right away. I had to get a couple more companies using me to do those. And once I got enough companies, I was out of there. And even though when I quit the dealership, I wasn't as busy as I was before working the dealership and doing inspections. I was maybe half a day busy now. I was still making more money than a full day of being a mechanic. But that scared me at first. I'm like, oh my God, I only worked 4 hours today. That's all the work I had to do those inspections. I did enough inspections, got them done in 4 hours, and I was home for the day. But that, like I say, that scared me. Even though I was making more money, I thought, oh my gosh, I still got all this extra time left. What am I going to do if I don't fill that up with more work? Well, it didn't take long, and I filled that up with more work. And I started doing 10, 12 of these inspections a day. So my first year of doing these, as a mechanic, first of all, mechanics make anywhere from 60, well, not even that, from 40 to 60, 70 average. There's guys that make more and there's guys that make less. I was about a $60,000, $70,000 a year mechanic. And, but I'd never seen this kind of money before that I was making with these inspections. And in the first year, I did like $130,000, $140,000 or something in that area, and I'd never seen that before, and I thought, oh my God, I hit the jackpot. So the way it worked was inspection companies is who I got the work from. Warranty companies don't have their own inspectors. So these inspection companies were built around trying to sign up with as many extended warranty companies as possible, and they would get busier and busier with the more they could sign up. And I would want to sign up with as many inspection companies as I wanted. But there came a point where I thought, you know what? Why am I doing this for all these inspection companies when I could be doing it myself? So the way it worked for me is I worked in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and I was doing inspection for all these companies, and I started getting really busy. I started getting them in Duluth, Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota, St. Cloud, Minnesota, Fargo, parts of Wisconsin, even Michigan a couple of times. And I started going to all these areas, Hibbing, Virginia, really far, 130, 140 miles away inspections. So I started putting guys in those areas. So every time I got one of those jobs, I'd give it to one of those guys. And they weren't full-time inspectors or anything. They were just guys I would use when I had an inspection. They were probably, it's been a lot of years, and I don't remember much about those guys, the early guys. But most of those guys were probably mechanics during the day, and then they would fit these in for me as needed. And then I was working the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. So I took this area that I was doing inspections in, and I made it this area for myself and put guys in those further areas. So all of a sudden I thought, you know what, now's the time to get the work from the warranty companies and cut out the middleman, the inspection companies. And it happened really fast. Not only did I have Minnesota covered, I started rolling it out. So all those states around Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, parts of Michigan, which is a little ways out past Minnesota, but close, Wisconsin, and I did Iowa, all these places. I started filling them up, and then it just kept rolling. Next thing you know it, I was slammed, and the whole country was covered. Now, the system we had that ran all this was very archaic compared to today's standards. Lemon Squad, the website now, it does a lot of things, and back then it was more manual. As a matter of fact, when I very first started, I'd have the inspectors email me their pictures and report, and I would email it off to whoever was supposed to get it. I didn't have a system. I had a website, but no system. A web app, I guess, is what they're called these days. But I had somebody build me the first one, and this was something that was supposed to be able to help me with my mechanical inspections. And this was early, before we had spread too far across the country. And it was supposed to help me with those and make work a lot better. But he couldn't get it to work right. I didn't have a ton of money to put into this thing, so I had to hire lesser quality guys to do the work. But this ended up working out in my favor. So he was able to not make it work for mechanical inspections, but he was able to get it to work for pre-purchase inspections. And that's when the pre-purchase inspection business was really put together at that point. If you go to lemonsquad.com, you'll see it's kind of a pre-purchase inspection company, but it does other things too that are behind the scenes that you can't see for other industries and other companies. But he couldn't get the mechanical side to work, what I'd been doing this whole time, but he got the pre-purchase side to work. So I thought I'd try my hand at pre-purchase inspections. And next thing you know it, I was busy and the money started flowing in with those. They also cost a lot of money to get because I had to pay for advertising. I used Google Ads, Google AdWords. I had SEO guys getting us ranked higher in the search engines. I had all sorts of stuff going on to get that work in, but the pay was so much better. I'd get like $90 total for doing a mechanical inspection. And then I had to pay the inspector out of that 90. Well, now I'm getting 150, 160 and upwards to 300 to do an inspection. And I'm paying the inspector, his cut, and my cut was much more, which it needed to be. I had a lot more overhead, and I started having to hire employees. So that's where Lemon Squad really was born. Lemon Squad was originally called Auto Nerds. Auto Nerds was the name I came up with, and we got shut down pretty quickly because there was a company called Auto Nerds in Seattle, Washington that had their lawyer call us to tell us to stop using their name. And a guy that was doing some website work for me said, "What do you think of the name Lemon Squad?" And I didn't really care for it, to be honest. It didn't fit me. But I couldn't think of anything better either. And in hindsight, it was an amazing name, and it worked out really well. So that's when we became Lemon Squad. And Lemon Squad blew up, and it turned into a very large company, and it got into all the different states, not just the lower 48, but Canada, Hawaii, Alaska, Hawaii, and into Canada as well. Puerto Rico, Guam. It really blew up. And when people think of Hawaii, they unless you've been there, it's not one island. It's a whole bunch of islands out there, and I had to get guys in every one of those islands. Hawaii was trickier than some areas, but it paid off to go through the legwork of doing that. So I started all this in a one-bedroom apartment, and my daughter was in the bedroom, and I stayed on a futon in the living room with my wife. So money wasn't amazing when we started this business. I came from a blue-collar type family. As a matter of fact, when I was brought up, I was raised for the most part without a dad, and I my mom was on welfare. So I started my life eating blocks of cheese from the state. And we couldn't afford milk, so we got powdered milk. And I would drink powder milk. And we'd mix it with water, and we have a jug of milk in the fridge. And looking back on it, it was horrible, you know, but that's what we had, and we made it work. But this business took off, and you know, my family, nobody in my family has a lot of money. As far out as I can think of, the extended family, nobody does. They're all blue-collar workers. So I was able to do something a little different than they did, and there's nothing wrong with being a blue-collar worker. I have the most respect for that, but I did something a little different than what my family normally does. I started a company, and there's a lot of luck involved, and it got big. I had a great idea, but it was a lot of luck. A lot of guys have great ideas, and those it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. A lot of luck, but a lot of hard work too. You know, in the beginning days, it was just me. I was doing inspections, I was uploading reports, I was reviewing reports, and I'd be out and running around all day in the car doing those inspections, then up all night doing all the paperwork stuff. But it's afforded me a really great lifestyle, and I'm really happy I did it. And I sold it 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. I stayed on as a consultant basically for 3 years, 3.5 years. And I left Lemon Squad a few months back. I'm still in a non-compete, so I can't start another business, but I feel good. I feel young, and I think I got something else in me. I think I'm going to start up another business. And I've made preparations to do that. So any of you Lemon Squad people out there that customers, whatever, know me, I'm coming back. I'm not trying to take business from Lemon Squad, but I'm going to come back with a new company. And, you know, maybe we'll see anybody out there, you know, during that, when that business pops up. But I have to wait for my non-compete to come up. And I can't solicit any customers or anything, and I'm not going to. So, but you might see me out there in the industry again real soon. I'm excited, and you know, I'm raring to go with that. So anyway, that's Lemon Squad. That's what it was. That's how it started, and it's been great. It's been great. It was a great ride. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad to not be with that company anymore after being in that position for as long as I was with Lemon Squad. It's nice to have a break, and you know, things change when you sell a company, and you know, sometimes they're for the best, and you know, sometimes you don't agree with some things, and it's just, I'm really happy to not be there. I sleep a lot better, but I also learned a lot, and I think I can make a hell of a new company. So that's going to be my plan. But anyway, that's Lemon Squad, guys. I hope everybody's well, and I have another video coming out tomorrow as well. So you guys all take care and wait for that video. It's coming out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification button. And send me some messages, comment on these videos, even if you think they suck. Tell me that, so I know what I should do to change them to make them better. But I love all you guys. We'll talk to you soon on the next video. Take care.